Derrick Campbell, and I'm here today with my student Ori. I'm going to be teaching him how to play Sweet Child of Mine. We're going to cover the intro to the song. You can check out my website, beginnerguitarlessons.com, and also my YouTube channel, Derrick Campbell Guitar Teacher. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started.
Let's do this.
All right. There's basically 3 parts to the intro. And actually, once you get the first 2 measures down, you pretty much have all the other parts to the intro. Because there's really only one note that kind of changes in each section. So, what we're going to do, the fingers that you use for this are very important. You want to use this specific order of fingers to make sure that you don't get kind of tangled up in the process of playing the riff. So, to begin with, you're going to play the first 2 notes. So I'm playing the 12th fret of the 4th string, and then the 15th fret of the 2nd string. You're going to use your index finger to play that first note, and then your pinky finger to play the 15th fret note. Good. The next note that you're going to play, 14th fret of the 3rd string, and then 12th fret of the 3rd string. You're going to use your ring finger to play the 14th fret note, and then your index finger to play the 12th fret note. So what we now have is 12, 15, 14, 12. The notes being D, D up an octave, A, and then G. Great. Okay, so now the next 2 notes, 15th fret of the 1st string, and then 14th fret of the 3rd string. So you want to use your pinky finger again for that 15th fret note, and then your ring finger, your 3rd finger, for the 14th fret note. So putting that together, we now have and only 2 notes left. 14th fret of the 1st string, and then 14th fret of the 3rd string. Excellent. One more time. 3, 4. Good. Okay, so now let's try the next 2 measures. The only thing that really changes is the first note is now the 14th fret of the 4th string as opposed to the 12th fret. So what you want to do for that measure is use your 2nd finger, that is your middle finger, to play that 14th fret note. And then everything else stays exactly the same. It's going to feel a little different because of the fact that you're starting with that middle finger, but it is the same fingering and the same series of notes.
Okay.
One of the things that you have to do when you do this, it's a little different, is you're ending the riff with your 3rd finger on the 14th fret of the 3rd string, and before you can get that middle finger back down, it has to sort of jump out of the way. So that's actually the trickiest part of playing the next 2 measures.
Okay.
So to begin with, just play the first 4 notes, so 14, 15, and then 14th fret of the 3rd string, and then 12th fret. And practice that a few times, just make sure you've got that down before we add the next 4 notes. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to add the next 2 notes. So we'll just do that a few times. Now we'll go and add the next 2 notes. Good.
This is harder than I have ever expected. Honestly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It sounds like such a simple riff, but
Yeah.
Like I said, once you get just like the first 2 measures down, all the other ones will be pretty easy to do. Okay, so now we've gotten through the second 2 measures. So now we're going to look at the last, the last part of this, which is. So it's identical almost to the first 2 measures of the riff. You're playing the 12th fret of the 3rd string to begin with, as opposed to the 12th fret of the 4th string. So that also is going to feel a little different too, because you're repeating that note later on in the pattern. So to begin with, just play this. So 12, right? Yep, so playing 12th fret of the 3rd string, 15th fret of the 2nd string, 14th fret of the 3rd string, and then 12th fret again of the 3rd string. Good. Do that a few more times. 3, 4. 3, 4. Great. So now add the next 2 notes in. 3, 4. Good. And go ahead and add the last 2 notes in as well. 3, 4. Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to try doing that repeatedly. So you just play that over and over again a few times. 3, 4. Great. Okay, so let's go back to the first one that we did. So playing the 12th fret of the 4th string, and we'll try doing that one over and over again. 3, 4. So now try the second one. So playing the 14th fret of the 4th string. And just doing that one over and over again. 3, 4. So now doing the third one again, 12th fret of the 3rd string. 3, 4. Excellent. Okay, so let's try putting that together now. So you're going to do the first riff, starting on the 12th fret of the 4th string. You're going to do that twice. Then the 14th fret riff twice, and then the 12th fret of the 3rd string riff twice, and then back to the, starting on the 12th fret of the 4th string, you'll do that twice, and then those 8 measures is the whole intro pattern.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. 3, 4. Next one. So now 12th fret of the 3rd string. So now back to the 12th fret of the 4th string. And then restarting the whole pattern now. Okay, so now we got to speed it up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit faster this time, and we're going to stay just on the first pattern.
Okay.
So basically like this. Just a little bit faster than what we were doing before. a little bit faster now. So at this speed. 3, 4. Faster, just try to make sure, focus on what fingers you're using, making sure that stays the same. And a little bit faster yet. Great, awesome. Okay, so now let's try that with the second riff. So this one's a little tougher, and keep in mind that when you end it, that third finger has to get out of the way of the second finger before that second finger can come back down to restart the riff.
That's the hard part.
That is the hardest part of playing this, yeah. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go at this speed to begin with, and then we'll kind of quickly pick up the pace.
Okay.
3, 4. Faster. 3 and 4 and. Great, awesome. So a little bit faster yet. 3 and 4 and. Okay.
One life lesson that I've learned from this experience is that to never underestimate the difficulty of this song. Never, ever, ever. Let's keep going.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job.
Yay, I finally got it.
Okay, so one last thing to do is the ending of this. Play through the whole thing 3 times, and then the ending you go.
Oh my gosh.
Still staying in that same area, still kind of, using the same sort of fingering for this. So the first note in the ending is the 12th fret of the first string. You use your index finger to play that. And then you play the 14th fret of the third string. And then you play the 15th fret of the second string. And then you go back to the 14th fret of the third string. Now you basically keep coming back to that note, the A note on the third string, the 14th fret. Now the tricky part of this is the string skipping in between the first and the third string. You're doing that for almost the entire part of this. Like almost all the notes that you're playing are the first string and then going back to the third string. So what you want to do to make this a little bit easier is make sure that when you're picking this that you're going down on the first string note and then up on the third string note. The idea here being that you're trying to keep the pick in between the strings to minimize the amount of arc of your right hand as you're doing this. What we're going to do to begin with is we'll play the first 4 notes of this. So 12th fret, 14th fret, 15th fret of the second string, and then 14th fret of the third string. Play those 4 notes a few times. 3 and 4 and. Again, 3, 4. 3, 4. Good. Now the next 2 notes in. next 2 notes in. When you do this, you'll need to use your pinky finger to play that 14th fret note on the first string. If you watch how I do this, the reason you're doing that is because you're using your 3rd finger on that 14th fret note. So try that. 3 and 4 and. And then. Good. 3 and 4 and. 3 and 4 and. Good job. Okay, so now add in the next 2 notes in the next measure, 15 and 14, so that will sound like this. Three and 4 and. Good. 3 and 4 and. It's okay. 3 and 4 and. Good. Okay, so now add in the next 2 notes, 14 and 14 again, still using the 4th finger for that 14th fret note of the first string. 3 and 4 and. Okay, almost done. Do that a few more times. 3 and 4 and. Good.